Here is our main character, Joey. He really likes the robot toy that's being advertised on TV, so he's been working part-time to earn money. Since it's time for school, he asks permission from the shop owner to leave and is thrown a bag of lunch by the owner. He then goes home to say hello to his grandmother and get his school bag before leaving. Just as he steps out, he meets his friend Lena. She informs him that there's a dance party this weekend and wants to invite Joey along, but he makes up an excuse about being busy to decline. Suddenly, Lena's older brother Will shows up and bullies Joey, calling him useless and always hanging around his sister. He tells Joey that if he wants to say something, he should speak up. However, a curly-haired friend arrives and asks Lena's brother to leave Joey alone. Despite having a broken leg, this person's words carry weight, so Lena's brother backs off. He believes that if Joey doesn't stand up for himself, he'll continue to be bullied, as the reason he's bullied is due to this submissive nature. But Joey doesn't want to fight, so he chooses not to resist. During class, Joey is drawing the toy he desires, and his curly-haired friend suggests adding wings to make it look better. He is then warned by the teacher. After school, he runs to a doctor's place. The doctor boasts to Joey that he has made the greatest achievement in history. He reveals that he has just made contact with an alien race, having scanned planet after planet, sitting for hours next to the signal transmitter day after day. Although Joey finds this interesting, he has to leave early for work. He then meets his curly-haired friend again, and we learn that this friend is Sai. Sai believes that Joey isn't at all like Lena's brother described him. Joey has been working early to help his grandmother, while a spoiled rich kid like Will has probably never done any manual labor. They then encounter some rich kids playing with the robot toy that Joey has been longing for. But they keep fighting over it, causing the robot to walk onto the road and get smashed by a car. Despite breaking the toy, they don't care and throw it straight into the trash, knowing they can just ask their father to buy a new one. Joey then goes to pick it up because he can fix it. Over the next few days, Joey immerses himself in repairing the toy robot. Sai occasionally drops by while Joey is fixing the toy. He reveals that he has named the robot Heroman. In the evening, when he has fixed quite a bit of the robot, it suddenly becomes time for work, so he leaves the robot in his room and goes to work. Suddenly, dark clouds start to gather. That night, while Joey is working, he notices it's raining and remembers that the window in his room is still open, worrying that the robot might get wet and break. He asks the shop owner to let him go home for a while. He then rushes home to find that his robot has indeed gotten wet. As he approaches it, lightning suddenly strikes directly into his room and hits the toy robot. After the lightning strike, the robot remains intact, but the control device in his hand suddenly transforms into a glove. When he presses it, it transforms the toy robot into a large robot. However, at the same moment, the lightning strikes a power pole, causing an accident on the highway where Lena and her father accidentally crash into an oil truck, causing an explosion. Just as Joey is rejoicing that Heroman has come to life, he suddenly notices the accident on the highway. Heroman looks towards him, so he tries pressing the glove, and it grabs Joey and runs him to the highway. Heroman moves him up, and when he discovers Lena's family's car, Joey quickly runs over and finds his friend and her father still safe, but for how long is uncertain. So Joey asks Heroman for help. He presses the glove, and Heroman immediately tears off the car roof and pulls out the remaining trapped parts. Suddenly, oil touches an electric wire, causing another explosion. The glove gives Joey a shield for protection, while Heroman manages to get Lena and her father out. And Joey realizes this is his hero. Meanwhile, an alien spaceship has received the message from the doctor and found its way to Earth. Joey, seeing Heroman return to its small size, thinks he might have been dreaming about Heroman actually becoming large. But when he activates the glove again, Heroman indeed shows signs of transformation. His grandmother asks what's happening from outside, but he prevents her from coming in. Heroman then stops, and the next day, Joey takes Heroman to an abandoned factory to practice. He has Heroman punch once, which destroys a large container, making Joey realize the enormous power at his disposal and causing him some hesitation. When he goes to school later, he notices Sai isn't there. He then meets Lena, who tells him Will isn't around, so he doesn't need to worry. She tells him about the accident she and her father had last night and how they were saved by a hero. Joey claims he knows nothing about it and runs away. He then goes home and is startled to see his grandmother. He asks her what she would do if a superhero appeared to help, to which she responds by sending him to mow the lawn. Joey then goes to Sai's workplace to tell him the truth and ask for advice on what to do. Sai is skeptical, but at least advises Joey to make his own decisions about what to do with Heroman rather than relying on others. The next day, the alien spaceship drops a few soldiers. People think it's a film shoot, but the aliens suddenly take out a device to transmit and receive signals. When the police arrive, they are thrown aside. Joey and Sai, just leaving school, notice something happening in the city. Most people gather to watch. The police arrive, but their guns are ineffective against the three aliens. The aliens report back to their leader that the intelligence level here is very low and the military force is insignificant. Therefore, the commander orders them to find the person who sent the contact signal and capture them alive. Joey and Sai hear about the alien attack on the radio. Joey realizes the doctor was telling the truth and runs to find him. When he arrives, he barely manages to warn the doctor before the three aliens appear. The doctor runs out to see them, thinking they've come to play after receiving his signal. But in reality, they've come to destroy the planet and take the doctor back as a test subject. Joey will also be captured, and Lena, who has just arrived, will be captured too. The doctor, wanting to take responsibility, stays behind to stall for Joey to escape. But Joey doesn't run away and stays to fight. He then takes out Heroman and uses the glove to activate it. Heroman grows enormous and steps out. Lena recognizes this as the robot that saved her and her father from the accident. Joey then has Heroman attack and sends one alien flying. When the second one tries to counterattack, Joey has a shield for protection. When Lena is blown away, Joey rushes to catch her. He then asks her to stay there. Joey and Heroman then rush in and repeatedly punch the second alien. Heroman grabs him and smashes him to pieces. The last alien opens fire, but Heroman just walks towards him, and Joey activates Heroman's punch, blowing away the remaining alien's body. But just then, the alien spaceship arrives to start destroying the area. The spaceship then flies across the city. When it reaches a suitable position, the commander wonders about the reconnaissance team as they haven't returned yet. But it's time to start the attack, so they drop 24 other soldiers to begin wreaking havoc in the streets. Joey realizes they need to evacuate, but the attack is near his home, so he runs back to find his grandmother. Sai follows him, so Joey asks the doctor to protect Lena for him. But Will comes to taunt Joey about what he plans to do with that robot, though Joey just wants to leave. Both of them then depart. Meanwhile, the president has started to hear news about the alien attack. The police are still trying to intercept the aliens, but their forces are like throwing eggs at rocks. But fortunately, right after that, the military was dispatched, while Joey and Sai were trying to find their way back when they were suddenly blocked by the enemy, so they had to temporarily hide. However, both of them were noticed by one of the aliens. He approached to check and saw Sai's leg exposed, but just as he was about to shoot, the military helicopter rushed in to fight them. However, their power was nothing compared to the aliens, so the helicopter was quickly shot down. Joey and Sai were forced to ignore it and run away. The military then sent jets to target the flying saucer, but the saucer had a protective shield, so the jets were helpless and had to turn back. But the flying saucer didn't give them that chance and shot down all the jets. The flying saucer then released a giant root and attached it to the ground to make a base. At the refugee camp at this time, the doctor was torturing himself for causing such a great disaster, while Lena couldn't find her brother anywhere. She asked Will's friends, but they didn't know either. Will had teamed up with that rich kid to form a plan to infiltrate the flying saucer to steal their technology and fight back. Will wanted to become a hero to outdo Joey. Meanwhile, Joey and Sai had returned home, but the enemy was quite numerous here too, so they both had to hide. But now if they didn't do anything, Joey's grandmother would be in trouble, so he ran out to attract the enemy's attention and called them to focus on him. He then took out Heroman to fight, and somehow these aliens allowed him time to enlarge Heroman, who then rushed in to punch them. Heroman threw a punch that knocked out the first one. The second one took a kick from Heroman and was also gone. The third one fought back and let the fourth one hold Heroman back, but Heroman threw that one out to block the bullets. They were about to shoot again when Joey rushed out and used a shield to block the attack for Heroman. Heroman then gave him a choice to activate. He used it and helped Heroman gain lightning around his body, and just one lightning punch was enough to blow away the remaining 3 in one hit. Sai and Joey then ran into the house to see how grandmother was doing, and she was still listening to music and knitting as if nothing had happened. She had heard noise all day but didn't know what was going on. Meanwhile, the alien commander had announced to the whole world about their existence. He then confidently stated that they had completely controlled this world and humans should not think about opposing them. The two then took grandmother outside to see the destroyed city before their eyes. Over there was the ship of the aliens. When they arrived at the shelter, Joey and Sai met Lena again. They both asked where the doctor was, and he had gone back to the research room. Lena also asked both of them about Will and that rich kid. Sai suspected that those two were doing something stupid again. Joey promised to bring both of them back for Lena. They then went to find the doctor, and he had just disassembled the alien's cannon that had fallen here. But the doctor hadn't researched much, so it was almost useless. However, the doctor was certain that the only weapon that could defeat the aliens at this time was Heroman. Meanwhile, those two idiots had found their way to the alien ship. But when they didn't know how to get in, some soldiers came out, so they both sneaked in. Will wanted to find the aliens' weapons to deal with them. After fumbling around for a while, they found the weapon storage, but while they were figuring out how to get the items out, suddenly that rich kid got a gun and fired a shot. Will took that gun and was confident that now he could beat those aliens, but an eye had detected both of them. They were then led by the ship to the enemy soldiers. Will was about to fire back when suddenly the gun stopped working. They were then taken to the commander, and he thought they were also cunning to have gotten this far. But both of them also realized that Earth couldn't win after seeing the resources he had. They were then imprisoned, and the commander had implemented Step 3, which was to release an iron ball. The doctor was now trying to activate Heroman to see what would happen, but it had no effect. So it was highly likely that only Joey could use it. They then discovered that the iron ball was rolling towards the city, and on its path was the civilian shelter. After that, Sai ran back to inform the civilians to evacuate, while the doctor and Joey stood to block the ball. Joey called out Heroman, but Heroman couldn't handle it and was immediately crushed by the ball. However, as he was still okay, Heroman tried to chase after it and strike to try to stop the ball, but most methods were useless, so the doctor realized they needed a hole, and nearby there was a place where people were constructing a subway tunnel. So Joey had Heroman punch through the ground under construction to make the ball fall in. But the ball then grew spikes and pushed itself out of the hole and continued rolling. At this point, the doctor was out of ideas because this ball was rolling too fast towards the shelter, where the evacuation was not yet complete. Sai then hurried the evacuation, but Heroman now stood up and punched the ball repeatedly. He punched so hard that one of his hands shattered, but Heroman kept punching until his right hand also shattered completely. Joey felt very sorry for Heroman, but it gave Joey a power choice and put its trust in him. He then activated the power and helped Heroman grow larger and strong enough to withstand the ball. Right after that, Sai reported back that everyone had been evacuated so Heroman could let the ball roll on. The alien commander now realized that humans had begun to have something to fight back against them. But Joey's group now had to do something to deal with that ball. At this moment, the commander dropped a few more balls to thoroughly deal with Heroman. Joey was about to go into battle with Heroman, but the doctor stopped him because they needed a specific plan. For now, they had to find a way to deal with these balls first instead of just relying on Heroman, because they had clearly seen that Heroman couldn't simply destroy the ball. So now they needed to retreat and come up with a specific strategy. Meanwhile, Will was trying to break out of prison to escape, while the rich kid behind him kept complaining and moaning about how they were about to be experimented on. But Will thought that Commander had other intentions because if he wanted to kill them, he would have done it already. The commander now realized that Heroman was the only entity capable of confronting him now, so he would prioritize dealing with this threat first. The two idiots were still in prison when suddenly the cell dropped straight down and both were escorted away by the soldiers. The rich kid blamed Will for getting them both into this mess. They were then taken to a room full of the remains of aliens after they were defeated by Heroman. It could be seen that they weren't completely dead, but just temporarily lost their ability to fight. Meanwhile, Joey had repaired Heroman's hands and felt better. But now there was no electricity, so the doctor took out a generator for Joey to pedal and generate power. He then began the plan to analyze and map out a strategy. First, they had to hack into the military's communication system to listen in. The military was now trying hard to destroy the ball, but was completely helpless. The doctor noticed there were a total of 5 balls, and they split into 5 directions to wreak havoc. Joey decided to go out to do something, because right now the military had detected thousands of soldiers marching out of the base from that flying saucer. Joey would try to do something to deal with these infantry, so Sai would also go along to support. The doctor gave Sai a guitar equipped with a sound amplification system, because the doctor noticed that the communication method of these aliens was through sound frequencies. This frequency was lower than what humans could hear, so they just needed to use extremely loud sounds to disrupt them. The next morning, Sai decided to use guerrilla tactics to eliminate some enemy troops, and they should also limit exposing their position. They then saw 3 lone aliens, so Heroman rushed out to deal with them. 3 others ran over afterwards, but were hit by Sai driving up and playing the guitar. Indeed, they were stunned when they heard the too loud sound, so Heroman was able to deal with them easily. The commander now heard that Heroman was in action again, so he ordered the soldiers to find Heroman's position to concentrate troops there to deal with him. But the guerrilla tactics and constant movement made it impossible for the enemy to grasp Joey's group's position. So the commander decided to go all out. Joey then accidentally met Lena again, and she informed him that she was looking for Will. Joey wanted her to stay put and wait for him after the battle ended, but she wanted to go with him, believing it would be safer than staying here. Since his crush had said so, he reluctantly let her come along. When Sai also encountered Lena, he didn't understand why she was here, while Joey was speechless, so Sai figured it out on his own. The group then found 3 lone enemies and planned to capture them, but the enemy had already set up an ambush here, and surprisingly, this group also had a high-ranking leader. This leader then let Joey's group run down into the subway tunnel, and when they just got back to the surface, he led troops to block their way. Behind them, another high-ranking leader brought troops and destroyed their retreat path. The pink one then stepped out to fight one-on-one with Heroman. Joey had Heroman engage, and this one drew out a weapon to deal with him. Moreover, he was the one actively rushing in to attack. He then jumped over Heroman's head and circled behind him for the short one on the other side to attack from behind. Joey used the shield to protect in time, and let Sai use the guitar to stun the long-range shooter so Heroman could quickly deal with the pink one. Joey then activated the lightning fist for Heroman and used a finishing move, but that attack was completely blocked by the pink one's weapon. However, his helmet shattered, and now everyone was shocked to realize that the pink one was actually Will. This also meant that the rich kid Nick was the one behind. Lena came to call her brother, causing Will to gradually regain consciousness. He ran back and held his head, causing those soldiers to knock him out. Lena wanted to save her brother, but Joey saw an opportunity to escape, so he and the group hid in the nearby Parliament building. Nick led troops to chase, but Heroman broke the house pillars, causing the ceiling to collapse and cutting off the enemy's pursuit. The commander had the soldiers retreat and reconsider tactics before attacking again. That evening when they returned, Joey couldn't find words to comfort Lena. The doctor suddenly came to find all three and said that something big had happened. Meanwhile, the military was still trying in vain to stop the ball, so they sent helicopters to analyze the ball up close. But an eye suddenly opened and shot spikes into that helicopter. Joey's group now informed the doctor about Will's situation. The enemy must have manipulated and done something to Will's body for him to be strong enough to fight on par with Heroman. Lena had now calmed down, and the doctor now revealed that he had just analyzed a few things about that iron ball, and the White House also had the same analysis as the doctor. That is, these balls split into 5 directions and go straight in one direction. The White House didn't care about the other 4 balls, but only focused on one single ball, the one heading straight for this White House. According to the doctor, the other 4 balls were all moving to different continents, so these balls could be said to have been set on precise orbits from the beginning rather than just rolling aimlessly. The president was now thinking about using nuclear weapons, because in just 9 hours that ball would arrive here. Meanwhile, the alien commander was now adjusting Will because the broken helmet had caused Will to regain consciousness. They needed to readjust to prevent Will from encountering this situation again. Now Heroman alone was not enough to stop 5 balls and clear out enemies in the city, so the doctor needed to find the most optimal move now. Joey now informed the doctor that when he and Heroman fought the ball, he noticed that the ball only went straight without turning or doing anything else. It just rolled and crushed everything in front of it regardless of obstacles, so he suspected that ball was unmanned. At the same time, every time their spikes protruded, all 5 balls protruded simultaneously, so it could be said that all 5 balls were controlled by the mothership, and if they dealt with the ship first, all 5 balls would stop. But saying is easier than doing. The doctor would then try to do something, and Lena had also asked to participate in this mission. The doctor agreed and advised Joey and Sai to go rest because both hadn't had time to rest for the past 2 days. The doctor then set about making equipment while Joey and Lena went to buy necessary supplies for survival. Joey and Lena were talking about how the situation had become like this in just a few short days when suddenly all 3 were discovered by the enemy. So Heroman stood up to protect the young couple and then ran off in another direction to attract the enemy's attack. Joey took Lena to hide and then returned to Heroman. He increased Heroman's power and helped Heroman spin continuously and push this reconnaissance ship up. Heroman threw it away and then rushed in to punch it, causing this reconnaissance ship to stop operating. But when they returned, Joey and everyone were forced to act quickly because they had been discovered by the enemy. Meanwhile, the president had met with the general and hoped the general had some way other than using nuclear weapons. The general had brought in a scientist named Minami who claimed to have a solution to the immediate problem. Meanwhile, although Will had been readjusted, memories of Lena kept appearing in Will's head. He actively woke up and broke out of the cocoon. The scientist Minami who came to meet the president was from the Weapons Development Department. Minami said he had the ability to stop those balls, but required that the president not use nuclear weapons. Joey's group was now sneaking close to the ship and trying to escape from the alien soldiers. It wouldn't be good for them to rush straight into the enemy base now, but the doctor had a plan for this. He then led the group to a dead end, but the plan was here. The doctor wanted to use this sewer route to infiltrate, because there was a high chance that the enemy wouldn't know about this passage. The alien commander had now brought Will and Nick back to the army, and both seemed to still be obeying the commander. Meanwhile, the president refused Minami's request not to use nuclear weapons because the people were now on the brink of danger. However, Minami believed that the White House could be rebuilt. But those balls couldn't, so he wanted to use every means to bring that ball back to America, thereby always keeping America's balance of power in the highest position. Joey's group was now blocked in the underground sewer by some iron bars, so the doctor asked Joey to bring out Heroman to work. They had to act in silence, but when they broke the iron bars, the noise startled everyone. But they still hadn't been discovered, so they went on and successfully got inside the alien ship. The doctor had outlined 3 objectives. First, to stop those 5 balls. Second, to rescue Nick and Will. And finally, to destroy the factory creating these soldiers. But they could only do one thing before the enemy concentrated troops to surround them, so the priority was to stop those balls. The doctor hoped Lena could understand the situation now. They then split up, and the doctor gave Joey a walkie-talkie to communicate. They then went inside, and the doctor and Sai would go together to find the control panel, while Joey and Heroman tried to attract attention. Lena chose to go with Joey to help. The 2 sides then split up, and the commander had already heard that Heroman was here, so he immediately sent troops into battle. Heroman and Joey had gently dealt with a few soldiers until Nick and Will came. Both shot out tentacles to attack, but Joey raised his shield to block and let Heroman grab the tentacles and throw them both away. Joey then pulled Lena to run away temporarily to buy time. They then ran with Heroman into the area producing those balls. Those 2 had chased them here, so Joey and Heroman stood up to deal with them. Joey raised his shield to block Will, while Heroman could only defend because he wasn't allowed to hit Nick hard. Will then broke the shield and threw Joey away, just about to rush in to finish him off when Lena called Will, causing him to slow down for a beat and helping Joey raise his shield again and repel Will. Will's helmet was broken again, and Heroman now turned back to grab Nick's head and break his helmet. Will was awakened by Lena, but Nick still fought back. He was tired of being a useless rich kid, and now that he had power, he wanted to fight back against those he hated. Lena spoke up saying that Nick was wrong, but was attacked by him, forcing Will to run out to block. Will then tossed Nick aside, while the commander was furious because he still couldn't fully control humans. He ordered his soldiers to destroy everything. The entire factory began to collapse, and Joey's group had to turn back and run, while Nick stayed behind only to be hit on the head by a falling sphere. The doctor then called Joey, but he had dropped his communicator so he couldn't answer. The sphere was still rolling, and Dr. Manami had gone to meet with his subordinates to instruct them to prepare for the plan in another hour. He was determined to get that sphere at all costs. The doctor and Sai had climbed higher by this point and still didn't know the position to stop the spheres. Both were discovered by the commander, so he sent soldiers to deal with them. They were quickly found, and Sai was certain they were exposed because of the doctor's white coat. Both then had to resort to the backup plan that the doctor had prepared. He had brought a speaker system and let Sai play music. The amplified sound paralyzed all enemies and made them collapse, allowing the 2 to run ahead. Meanwhile, Joey had emerged from the rubble with Heroman. They both ran to find Will and Lena. After searching for a while, Joey found them and called Heroman to remove the boulder. Will was injured from protecting his sister, so Joey asked Lena to lead Will outside while he would go find the doctor and Sai. The commander, seeing his subordinates as useless for failing to handle 2 ordinary people, decided to take matters into his own hands. He then found Sai and the doctor, intending to teach them a lesson for opposing him. With just a few whip strikes, he made Sai and the doctor realize he was more dangerous than the others. They had to hold on and wait for Joey. Sai then went around behind and played music, temporarily paralyzing the commander. He soon awakened and destroyed the instrument, capturing Sai to force the doctor to show himself. The doctor emerged to offer in exchange for Sai's life, but obviously, the commander refused and threatened to deal with both. Heroman arrived to stop him, while Joey came to save Sai. The commander now faced Heroman directly. He introduced himself and argued that his invasion of Earth was similar to how humans take land from wildlife. He then began to transform into a more powerful form. The two sides engaged in hand-to-hand combat, and the commander admitted Heroman was truly strong. He then spread his wings to fly and strike at Heroman's weakness, the inability to fight airborne enemies. Heroman was only strong in close combat, and against an enemy who could fly up and down to attack like this commander, Heroman was helpless. Just as he was about to defeat Heroman, Joey arrived with a shield to block the attack. Joey then used his acceleration ability to run back and forth, attracting the commander's attention. Although the commander was very fast, Joey could still match his speed. He successfully lured him to a position where Heroman could strike. Joey blocked the front and used his shield to knock him back to Heroman, quickly activating the lightning punch. The commander took the full hit, and everyone thought he was defeated, but suddenly he got up again. He was angry that they dared to hurt him and cause him injury. He then rushed to grab Joey's arm and delivered a punch that sent Joey flying. Although Joey blocked with his shield, the impact against a tree made him stagger and collapse. During this time, Minami and his team had begun to move out to stop the sphere. He had a specific plan to prevent this and wanted his subordinates to perform well if they wanted government investment. The commander now realized Joey was controlling Heroman, so if he died, Heroman would just be a mindless puppet. He then frantically attacked Heroman, but Joey had regained consciousness and came to raise his shield in defense. The commander admitted Joey wasn't easy to deal with, as he had survived a full-force blow from him. However, Joey still had to fight alone as Heroman hadn't reactivated yet, only to be beaten by the commander and take another direct hit at full force, causing Joey to fall from a height. This time, no miracle occurred. Heroman only regained consciousness then and, seeing Joey knocked out, became very angry. When the commander was gloating triumphantly, Heroman had turned red and the lightning bolts changed to yellow. Heroman then rushed in and delivered a punch that sent the commander flying. Before he could get up, Heroman stomped on him hard, then grabbed his head, spun him around several times and slammed him into the ground. Heroman even grabbed and ripped off the commander's wings. The commander was beaten down, but Heroman still didn't stop. Lightning crackled around him, causing the entire ship to start collapsing. Joey had regained consciousness by then and saw Heroman about to finish off the commander. Unable to control Heroman, Joey rushed over and clung to Heroman's arm. Seeing Joey was alright, Heroman stopped and returned to his white form. As soon as the commander was released, he immediately turned on them and attacked both. But Heroman caught his arm and Joey quickly activated the thunder punch to hit him square in the face. The commander was knocked down again and and the doctor then ran over to Joey to check on the situation. But the commander declared he would drag them all to hell with him, as his race would never accept defeat, so he would meet them in hell when he self-destructed this ship. Even though the place was about to explode, the doctor worried that the spheres would still roll even if this place blew up. So it was better to prioritize finding the control room to shut off the spheres. They then used the elevator to reach the highest room of the ship. After looking around for a bit, the doctor recognized the control panel and ran over to it. But the doctor wasn't sure how to use it, and enemies had arrived to interfere, so Heroman and Joey ran out to deal with them. Meanwhile, Minami was shaking hands with the president in front of the public, and that sphere had arrived in front of the White House. Minami was ready to perform, but just as he was about to act, the doctor had figured out how to stop all 5 spheres. Minami didn't even get a chance to show off. The doctor wanted to try stopping the ship's explosion, but the control panel then exploded, so they had no choice but to escape. The ship then exploded and Lena worried that Joey's group hadn't escaped in time. But Joey had used Heroman and a shield to protect everyone safely from the blast. Everyone thought the invasion was over and peace had truly returned. Minami was frustrated that someone had prevented him from showing off. At the same time, deep in the crater left by the explosion, the commander's core had been taken by someone. 3 months passed after the battle with the aliens. People had started rebuilding the destroyed city. The 5 spheres remained where they had stopped. Humans didn't have a way to study them yet. the government built a research institute around the sphere in front of the White House. Although the city had completely changed after the war, at least everyone was looking forward to a brighter tomorrow. The government still hadn't found the identity of the person who defeated the alien commander, but they discovered an anomaly in Joey's city. Every night there were signs of someone secretly helping them rebuild buildings and houses. This hero had the work capacity of an entire construction crew in a week. However, the minister worried that this hero wouldn't always be their ally, as a camera had captured the hero's feet. Most viewers would know this was Heroman. Based on the fact that this wasn't human, the minister worried that one day Heroman would become a threat to the entire country. Meanwhile, Minami was complaining about having to do this boring city reconstruction work. He was also bitter about the person who ruined his chance to show off. As for Lena, since the war ended, Will had left because he didn't want to live with humans in this form. Although her mother still believed Will would return, her father tried to forget about Will. She later met Joey again and saw he looked tired. Joey asked if Lena needed any help, but she wanted to invite him to hang out. However, he and Sai went to class as it was about to start. In class, Joey kept dozing off because he had to go help the city every night. All day, Lena tried to find opportunities to invite Joey to hang out, but kept running into obstacles. So by the end of school, she decided she had to invite Joey no matter who interrupted. When meeting Joey, Sai realized he seemed to be holding both of them back. But Joey then noticed it was almost time for work, so he planned to leave first. Lena was about to speak quickly when her father called, causing her to miss the opportunity. That evening, the restaurant where Joey worked welcomed a team of workers who were helping rebuild the city. The team leader mentioned that someone was helping them reconstruct the city every night. But Joey avoided the topic and suggested it might just be a rumor. Joey knew he needed to limit this kind of help from now on if he didn't want to be discovered. At night, he practiced combat coordination with Heroman and the doctor. Joey wondered why he needed to fight since the aliens had left. But the doctor explained that aliens weren't the only danger he needed to face. The doctor believed Joey was the only one who could control Heroman, so there were things only he could do. However, he was still having financial problems. While passing a phone booth, he remembered and decided to call Lena to apologize for not hearing what she had to say. She was about to invite Joey again when the call suddenly cut off. Right after, a car rushed past Joey, and he discovered Lena had been kidnapped. These kidnappers only took Lena because they wanted to extort money from her father. But while driving, Joey intercepted them and had Heroman lift their car. They were then knocked unconscious by Heroman. Joey later took Lena home at super speed. She realized she had forgotten to invite Joey to hang out, but he came back to return her phone, and so she managed to make a date with Joey. Meanwhile, the construction team leader, who witnessed the 3 kidnappers being arrested, noticed strange footprints at the scene and revealed himself to be Hugh, a government agent. He called to inform the president that the hero who had been helping them rebuild the city was real. The next day, Hugh requested his agents to stay put for now as he wanted to investigate some things at the scene before the footprints disappeared. He didn't want to ask the road repair team to delay their work as it would create unnecessary rumors, so he would make use of the time. Meanwhile, Joey was excited about having a date. While he was unsure where to take Lena, someone suddenly came looking for him. It was his sister Holly. She was part of a band and had been on tour. She came back after hearing about the alien attack on the city, though it had been 3 months since then. But since she was already here, she decided to stay and have fun for a few days. Holly's return home disrupted Joey's normal life. She messed with all his things, but Joey only overreacted when she touched Heroman, as he believed she broke everything she touched. He later took his backpack and Heroman to stay at Sai's house because Holly had taken over his bed. Meanwhile, Hugh had met with Minami to ask for cooperation in investigating the Heroman case, as he knew Minami must also be interested in the mystery here, which is why he chose to rebuild here instead of elsewhere. After hearing about the benefits of cooperating with Hugh, Minami agreed. Sai was also startled to hear that that demon had returned. Holly had left a dark period in both their childhoods, always picking fights and brutally beating the two younger boys. Suddenly, Holly came to check on Sai and had a favor to ask of the two brothers. Meanwhile, Hugh had been asking about the situation from workers at places where Heroman had helped, and everyone considered the helper a justice hero. So Hugh thought of a plan. Sai and Joey were forced by Holly to show her around the city. After a while, they saw an explosion nearby and went to check it out. Joey heard it was a construction accident, and there were still some workers inside, so he told Sai to keep Holly there while he ran off. He snuck into the construction area and had Heroman look for people trapped inside, but when he went in to search, he discovered Hugh was inside. He had deliberately created this accident to lure Heroman out. However, Joey hadn't been exposed yet, so he took advantage while Hugh was talking to run away. They both ran from the stairs and broke them to escape. But Hugh used a grappling hook to follow. He managed to follow Heroman while Joey escaped in time. Joey then had Heroman protect Hugh when he saw a rock falling, but thanks to that rescue, Heroman was able to escape in the dust cloud. Joey then returned to Sai and Holly, who wanted her two brothers to return quickly before the party started. Holly later took the two brothers to the port to perform there. After the show, Holly went home with Joey and said she would try to enjoy her remaining days here. The weekend was approaching, and Joey met Hugh at work and asked for his advice about tomorrow's outing. Sai also informed the doctor about Lena and Joey's date, so the next day, when Joey went on a date with Lena, both of them followed to observe. Lena had waited for half an hour, but when Joey arrived, she said she had just arrived a few minutes ago. The doctor wasn't sure if they should really be following Joey like this, but Sai thought this was Joey's first date, so they needed to support him if he messed up. Sai then saw Holly following and ran to stop her. Since yesterday, she had noticed Joey acting strangely, and now knowing it was a date, she wanted to disrupt it, but Sai wouldn't let her. The doctor wanted both to stop arguing if they didn't want to lose track of the couple. Joey and Lena then went to the beach, and Lena invited Joey to swim. The other three were on the shore observing, and Holly took the opportunity to introduce herself to the doctor. Suddenly, Joey's teacher passed by and asked the doctor what he was doing there. He wasn't sure why he was following Sai, yet the teacher also became interested in following Joey and Lena and joined in. The group then saw Joey and Lena stop in front of a rather luxurious store, so the doctor worried Joey wouldn't have enough money for this, but Sai had instructed Joey to avoid expensive places. Yet they still went into this restaurant, so they asked the teacher to go in and give Joey advice. She then went in and pretended to coincidentally pass by and meet the two, while introducing them to some delicious dishes. As soon as the teacher turned away, Joey noticed the umbrella at the door. He then ate with Lena and left. Lena treated him this time, and he had also discovered he was being followed. So Joey then led Lena into the shopping mall and had fun with her there for a while. As soon as he had the chance, Joey grabbed Lena's hand and ran away with her. The group behind knew they were exposed and chased after them immediately. Joey ran into the elevator, and Holly took the stairs to catch up with Joey. But when she got down, Joey had escaped. He then pulled Lena outside, and suddenly there was news that a construction robot was out of control. Lena knew Joey was about to leave, but he gave her a ticket to the amusement park and promised to return to continue their date. He then went to the construction robot and deployed Heroman, but after some fighting, he realized this robot wasn't out of control, but was being controlled by someone. Indeed, this was a trap to lure him out, so he tried to resolve it quickly. He then climbed onto a steel frame but was caught on camera by a news helicopter. However, he quickly had Heroman dodge and jump into a gap on the robot, then ripped off one of its arms. Right after, he unleashed a lightning punch that stopped the robot from operating and recalled Heroman to run away. He then returned to the amusement park to find Lena, who was still waiting for him there, but the park was closed. He used Heroman to take both of them up on the Ferris wheel, and had Heroman use electricity to reactivate it. He was very grateful to Hugh because he had given him advice about this date, which was to let things happen naturally. Meanwhile, Hugh was analyzing the footage that Minami had captured during the battle with Heroman, and he accidentally discovered Joey nearby. The next day, Hugh led the police to surround Joey's house to arrest him. But Hugh didn't want to make a scene, so he went in through the front door and met Holly. He asked about Joey, and she told him to try looking in the house. So a police team went in to search, but couldn't find Joey anywhere. So Hugh had them contact local authorities to search. 8 hours earlier, when Joey had just returned from his date with Lena and was sleeping while daydreaming about his crush, the doctor suddenly called, but with a different tone of voice. Joey realized the doctor was using an emergency code, so he also used a code to respond and arranged to meet the doctor at a secret location. He then noticed a black truck outside on the street, so he went to wake up Holly and ask for her help. She then ran outside acting like she was sleepwalking to create a distraction for Joey to escape. He later met with the doctor and Sai, who informed him that the government had started investigating Heroman and Joey. Their identities must have been exposed. When Sai didn't fully understand, Joey explained that the government was behind yesterday's building collapse and the construction robot that went out of control. Joey thought they should explain to the government, but the doctor said that after yesterday's incident, Heroman had been accused of opposing law enforcement officers and was seen as a villain. Although Heroman did nothing wrong, nobody cared about that. The government believed Heroman was a remnant of alien forces. Right now, Joey and Heroman's safety was the top priority, and Sai now wondered what Joey had been fighting for. The doctor thought if they escaped now, there was still time. If they were caught here, everything would be over. They then decided to leave together. The next morning, the doctor drove them both away to hide, heading to a friend's house in a sparsely populated area. What they needed to do now was get out of the city that was under lockdown. The press complained to TV stations about having to report false information, but no one could argue against government orders. Meanwhile, Hugh had started questioning Holly. But since she never knew anything about Heroman from the beginning, Hugh could only ask about what kind of person Joey was. Last night, Joey had called to wake her up to say he wouldn't be home for a while and asked her to take care of his grandmother for him. The doctor now found the roads difficult to navigate due to checkpoints everywhere. Joey thought he should go alone for safety and didn't want others to be implicated, but both had chosen to be his teammates, so Joey had to let them come along. The doctor came up with a plan to use Heroman's power. Hugh, now clear that Holly knew nothing, would investigate in a different direction. The doctor had led the group to a dual carriageway with 2 checkpoints. Heroman and Joey would attract attention on one road to create an opportunity for the doctor to escape on the other road. Once done, Heroman and Joey would run away and meet up after losing the police. Joey and Heroman then went into action and transformed, while Hugh decided to put himself in the position of a fugitive to guess where Joey would hide. Suddenly, he heard news that Heroman had appeared near the mountains. Heroman had arrived ahead of the police to let them shoot, while Joey hid by the road and started moving. Sai's group saw the police starting to move and got ready to act. The doctor then drove straight out while Sai activated fireworks to deceive the police, helping the doctor crash through the checkpoint and leave. Sai notified Joey to get ready to run. After luring a group of police to chase them, Joey had Heroman absorb all the police weapons and crush them. The police ran away, but Hugh and helicopters had arrived. Joey and Heroman jumped off the mountainside while Hugh still ordered to pursue and surround Joey. He later discovered a nearby coal mine and hid inside with Heroman. Hugh knew this was where Joey's father used to work, so they wouldn't be able to catch him in there and had to retreat. Joey later reunited with Sai and the doctor and continued fleeing together. Joey then didn't understand what he had done wrong in trying to protect this city. The doctor said they had recorded the checkpoints, so now they wouldn't worry about being chased. Now they just needed to reach their destination safely and stay highly vigilant. The road ahead would have many hardships and challenges if they wanted to clear Heroman's name. To get through that road, they would need Heroman's power, and also try to find ways to upgrade Heroman's power if possible. But first, they needed to get something to eat. Hugh had now told his subordinates not to search in the coal mine anymore because Joey must have left the city. They were also keeping an eye on the doctor's car, and Hugh could now only wait until Joey made a mistake. Suddenly, Minami came to find Hugh to discuss something. Joey's group had now stopped at a shop for dinner. Suddenly, all three discovered that the police had started posting news about Joey and the doctor's disappearance and suspected both were related to the case of a government-wanted subject. All three then hurried to leave before being recognized by others. It seems from now on they would have to eat less to avoid being caught. The next day, Joey and the doctor disguised themselves briefly to enter the supermarket to buy supplies. While shopping, people kept talking badly about Heroman, making Joey very irritated. He then remained silent and let the doctor shop alone. He asked permission to go to the bathroom, but then secretly called Lena using a public phone. He then asked about her well-being and requested a few things from Lena before hanging up. Hugh later traced the call and had people search for the doctor's car to follow. Dr. Minami wanted him to focus less on Joey and instead find Heroman for him. But he was the one with authority here. Joey's group later entered a town and discovered there were no residents here. Just as they realized they had been discovered, the doctor swerved to avoid being shot. Armored vehicles and the military appeared to block the road, but the doctor turned in another direction to escape. Joey jumped out of the car and released Heroman to stop the military. After destroying an armored vehicle, Heroman avoided and then grabbed a vehicle, waiting for soldiers to exit before standing it up to block the road. Joey and Heroman then ran into an alley and managed to hide. He later returned to where Sai and the doctor were hiding. They now needed to do something to escape with this bulky vehicle. The doctor told Sai to activate that machine over there. It was a machine to hack the military's communication channels. Knowing the military planned to use satellites to track them, the doctor turned on the machine. Hugh at this time noticed Minami was sabotaging him by letting soldiers act freely and ignoring his orders. The doctor then hacked into the government satellite and sent fake orders to pull all soldiers to one side so they could escape in the opposite direction. Hugh later realized soldiers suddenly ran east without orders, so he realized Joey was running west and brought helicopters in. They had surrounded the doctor's car. The doctor then reversed for a while before charging straight ahead. The helicopter continued to chase and shoot to flip the car. The doctor then stepped out and accepted arrest to give Joey and Sai time to escape. Hugh then had soldiers take the doctor back for questioning. He knew Joey would go up the mountain, so he told soldiers to prepare a search team. He would also search alone to avoid interference. That evening, Sai realized his legs were slowing Joey down, so he decided to stay at the tree now for Joey to run away. Sai then took out his instrument and played a note to attract attention from the soldiers. Although Hugh heard it, he ignored it and continued on his way. Joey later got out to the main road, but surprisingly encountered Hugh here. Hugh wasn't aggressive in catching Joey, but just wanted to talk for a while. Dr. Minami at this time was angry because Hugh had said nothing and sent a team into the forest to search first. Hugh now wanted to talk peacefully with Joey. He revealed that he was assigned this task 2 weeks ago after the government discovered the photo of Heroman. He only thought Heroman had a close relationship with Joey, so he looked for Joey to ask. He revealed that the government was concerned about Heroman's power, because while the world was struggling with aliens, there was a force that handled them quickly and efficiently. However, he didn't believe Heroman was bad because no one wanting to conquer the world would rebuild it. And besides, workers all saw Heroman as a symbol of justice. Joey felt somewhat happier. He then trustingly told the story to Hugh. Meanwhile, the press had begun to suspect Dr. Minami had some plot with the government, so they wanted to come here to find information and expose everything. Suddenly, they discovered a giant machine, so the pilot fearfully decided to turn back. Minami found out the location of Hugh and Joey. Hugh had thought of a solution for Joey, which was to talk directly to the president. because the president obviously didn't want to make an enemy of the person who had saved the whole world. He was about to call the president when suddenly Minami fired devices to disable Hugh's communication line. He then announced through a loudspeaker that Hugh was a traitor, forcing Hugh and Joey to flee. Hugh didn't expect to be framed, and at this point, he was also at a loss about how to clear Heroman's name, but if he could reach the media, he would be able to handle it. However, doing that now would be difficult. For now, the priority was that both of them shouldn't lose their lives here, so Hugh needed Joey's help. Hugh then ran away, leaving Joey and Heroman behind to attract attention. The helicopter then fired missiles, forcing Hugh to create a shield for Heroman. Joey wanted to push back the army so they couldn't follow anymore, but Dr. Minami had brought his equipment there and decided to test Heroman's strength before engaging in battle. He then ordered his subordinates to use artillery and aim at Heroman. After that, he activated his robot to join the battle and started rambling. Joey had Heroman charge in to attack, but was pushed back by Minami's gunfire. Minami had discovered Heroman's fatal weakness. Although Heroman had high attack and defense, he lacked long-range weapons. He just needed to stay out of Heroman's attack range to be safe. Joey wanted to find a way to close the distance, but was hit by Minami's electromagnetic wave, causing Joey to temporarily malfunction. Minami then started boasting about his own weapons, which helped Joey find a solution. The reporters had contacted the TV station, insisting that what they sent back should not be cut or edited in any way. Right after that, they discovered the battle breaking out and rushed to gather information. Joey had Heroman charge forward and timed it to dodge Minami's electromagnetic shot. He realized that Minami couldn't shoot continuously, so he kept charging, but Minami used a gun to fire steel stakes to block Heroman. Joey had to stand in front to shield Heroman. Just as they were about to charge again, Hugh arrived in a helicopter and ordered everyone to stop on the orders of the US president. But Minami played dirty by taking this opportunity to shoot Heroman once. However, Joey immediately reactivated Heroman. Because Heroman uses electricity as energy, all electrical attacks are useless against him. Joey then charged in and had Heroman strike, but Minami managed to block it. As Minami retreated to a safe distance, Joey used magnetic force to pull Heroman towards him. Even though Minami fired back, Heroman managed to destroy his gun. But now Minami wanted to play to the end, so he would engage in direct combat. Hugh still demanded that he stop, but Minami had his assistant fire an electromagnetic pulse that disabled the helicopters, causing them to fall. Now no one could stop him anymore. He then used the magnetic force connecting to Heroman to throw him away. The press had arrived by now and was broadcasting live on television. Minami decided to show the whole world his power. He then used both hands to push Heroman away. The press reported that Dr. Minami was now the villain for using a robot to attack the symbol of justice that had helped rebuild the city recently. Heroman was then thrown by Minami onto the hydroelectric dam. Minami continued to have his robot charge in for relentless attacks. Joey had reunited with Hugh, and at least now he wouldn't be targeted by the army. Hugh revealed that Minami hated Heroman because he originally wanted to introduce his robot into the military by proving its strength in stopping the sphere. But before he could do anything, the sphere had already been stopped by Heroman and Joey, so he became resentful and wanted revenge because they had stolen his spotlight. Joey then received orders from Hugh to stop Dr. Minami at all costs. He then had Heroman tear off one of Minami's arms and throw him off the dam, but Minami managed to fire one shot to pull Heroman down with him. Joey then quickly ran down with Hugh when he noticed that Heroman's energy was gradually depleting. After that, Minami scanned the entire dam and found Heroman at the bottom of the dam while his robot was underwater. He then used backup energy to bring the robot back and started firing at Heroman. Although Heroman could defend himself, the dam behind was about to break. So Heroman had to use magnetic force to hold the steel piles in place and use his body to take the bullets. Minami then ran out of ammunition, while the press had awakened the public by showing them who the real demon and hero were here. Joey and Hugh activated the hydroelectric dam and prepared to recharge Heroman. Heroman then fully recovered and threw a punch that caused dust to rise everywhere. Minami used the camera on the robot to find Heroman's position, but Heroman had been instructed by Joey to deliver a thunderous punch from above. Joey then successfully defeated Minami and was cheered by the whole world. Shortly after, Minami was arrested while Joey was exonerated and returned to his normal life. Hugh still visited him frequently, and to this day, people only knew Heroman as their hero without knowing that Joey was Heroman's controller. But now a dangerous person had appeared. Not long after, a mysterious figure appeared and attacked a large research facility. We return to the main characters. Since the previous exoneration, Joey's older sister Holly had become obsessed with Heroman. The doctor surprisingly came to find Joey and Sai to inform them of something. Lena then followed them to the doctor's room. The doctor revealed that recently many large places had been attacked. According to witnesses, these places were attacked by a single person. This person was so strong that they could knock away a police car with just one punch, and their appearances and departures were very mysterious. But the doctor couldn't find any clues between the attacks. Hearing this, Lena left to train, but as soon as Lena left, the doctor told Sai and Joey the truth that there was a common point between the attacked places. They were all researching the remnants of the aliens, and according to the pattern, the next point to be attacked would be this city. They still didn't know who the attacker was, but the immediate priority was to patrol and stay vigilant frequently. Joey wanted to ask Hugh for help with the investigation, but the doctor told them both not to waste time because the location to be attacked was right here. As the doctor still kept the alien gun from before until now, he suspected that this attacker had some way to locate the remaining alien specimens, so they would certainly not overlook this place. They then came up with a plan together. In the evening, all three went to the gymnasium for more space to welcome the attacker. The doctor had installed sensor cameras around the school, so their job now was to wait for that person to come. At night, while Joey's group was bored and playing cards to kill time, suddenly the doctor detected a sensor camera sending out an alert. Joey decided to go investigate. He then called out Heroman and set off. The doctor directed him to the person's location, but when he brought Heroman there to search, he discovered that the person the doctor had detected was actually his teacher. She was worried because Joey and the doctor were always doing suspicious things. She thought the glove he was wearing was some experiment of the doctor's. She then noticed Joey was hiding something and approached to look, but there was nothing as Heroman had managed to hide away. But at this moment, the attacker had found the doctor's location, forcing Joey to quickly return. He then told the teacher not to follow because they were doing dangerous experiments. The attacker was now being distracted by Sai's guitar playing as they both realized this was an alien. But the guitar had no effect on this person. They then rushed to the doctor and broke the speaker system on his back. Joey had returned just in time and had Heroman pull away the enemy's sword. Joey had Heroman attack, but this person dodged very easily and even knocked Heroman down. They then swung their arm to destroy Heroman, but Joey came to block with a shield. The person's hood fell off and everyone recognized this was Lena's older brother Will. Joey didn't understand why Will had broken free from control and was still attacking them. Will pushed Joey aside and proceeded to destroy Sai's guitar. Will asked why Sai hesitated now that he was no longer human. Joey still questioned why Will was fighting against them, to which he replied that Joey's group only enjoyed playing heroes while he was still fighting to protect what's most important from the shadows. The remnants of the aliens needed to disappear completely, so Will would destroy everything. Will believed that what the group was seeing wasn't everything. Things would continue, and if they kept getting in his way, he wouldn't hold back anymore. Will then destroyed the gun and disappeared. The doctor couldn't believe they would now have to face Will, but they weren't allowed to run away either. The teacher then unexpectedly met Heroman and was shocked. In the following days, the teacher joined Will's group. Sai thought that since the teacher already knew, they might as well let her join because sometimes she could be more helpful than the doctor. The group was now playing at the beach, and everyone called Heroman to join them in the water. So Heroman jumped straight into the water. Joey was still worried about Will, but Sai told him to go play with Lena, saying he should enjoy every moment he could. This trip was provided by Hugh for Joey. This was an island owned by the government, and the group was allowed to come here to have fun and relax with Heroman without worrying about being discovered by others. Everyone had a fun trip filled with laughter. They played at the beach in the morning and had a barbecue party in the afternoon. At night, everyone was surprised that the government was generous enough to lend them an entire island. But Sai said the fun was just beginning because it was time to tell ghost stories. He had heard that people used to live on this island, but suddenly one day, the inhabitants encountered a demon, and those unfortunate enough to face it had to die. The people heard about this and had to face the choice of leaving or slowly dying on this island. The doctor screamed loudly, but there was nothing to be afraid of yet, so Sai scared him as a joke, making everyone laugh. But then Sai said the demon was rumored to only appear on hot, humid nights with strong winds, and right now the wind outside was indeed very strong. But that must just be a coincidence because there's no way the lights would flicker and loud noises would occur outside. Just as he said that, the lights did flicker and they heard loud noises outside. At this point, even Sai started to worry. Everyone then heard Sai continue that the demon would appear at the door, and right at that moment, there was a knock on the door. Everyone started to panic, but Lena stepped up and suggested that this might just be a prank by government staff. They must be monitoring the group and arranging this prank right when Sai was telling the story. But just as she was about to open the door, she unexpectedly encountered an injured man. This person advised them to leave quickly. They then brought him inside for treatment. After regaining consciousness, he again advised them to leave. But the group still didn't understand what was happening, so the man said he would explain on the way out. He then saw Heroman and realized the group still had a chance to escape. But just as they were about to leave, giant tentacles burst through the door. Heroman stood up to fight but was also tied up, and then the tentacles submerged and dragged the entire house underwater. Joey later woke up alone on the beach and found Lena on a piece of wood nearby, so he swam out to save her. But Lena's hand slipped and she sank into the water, causing Joey to have to dive down to search for her when he arrived. He later retrieved Lena and pulled her to shore. Seeing his crush unconscious, Joey was about to perform CPR, but Lena woke up just in time. Feeling cold, they both went into a nearby cave to light a fire and warm up. After resting for a while, Joey decided to go look for everyone. Lena would go with him. They then climbed up the cliff and entered the forest. Joey thought they would meet everyone at the airport. He and Lena then met the brother who had come to warn them earlier. He introduced himself as Ravi and then panicked when he saw tentacles appear right behind them. Joey then told Lena to step back. He activated his glove to call Heroman into battle. But at this moment, Heroman is not near Joey, so he has to use his shield to block attacks and tells Ravi and Lena to run ahead first. He will try to attract attention. He then uses super speed to lure these tentacles to chase him. He lures them to make them tangle with each other, and unable to chase anymore before feeling safe to return to Lena. Ravi then informs Joey that this place was originally a resort for government officials, but deep inside it is a research facility aimed at creating biological weapons. Ravi and other scientists had created those vines and then let them get out of control and devastate the entire island. He wants to leave here with Joey as soon as possible, but Joey is worried about everyone and doesn't want to leave anyone behind, so he asked Ravi how to deal with the vines. He reveals that there is a generator in the laboratory, which contains the core of these plants. Just cutting off the power supply will stop these vines from functioning. Joey and Lena decide to go there to resolve the issue. Ravi, also wanting to be safe, chooses to go with them both. After they went a bit further, they suddenly discover a rather large crab, but it's completely harmless. Joey wants to appear strong to be a support for the other two. But right after that, all three encounter a vine that can speak human language, but it only mumbles a few sounds as if imitating human voices. Ravi didn't expect the vines to have evolved to this level. They can now even mimic human voices despite not having ears to listen. They then hear the teacher's voice, so they run to find her and see her surrounded by crabs. Joey approaches and informs that these are harmless. After picking up the teacher's slipper, the crabs voluntarily leave. Joey then goes up high with everyone and activates Heroman to find out where Heroman is. A lightning bolt then shines down and Ravi knows where that location is, so he leads Joey's group. As soon as they arrive, they see Heroman trapped in the vines. Joey activates the energy for Heroman to electrocute them to escape. But these vines can absorb electricity and are so persistent that Heroman can't pull them apart. So Joey comes up with the idea of shrinking Heroman. He then retrieves Heroman and also meets the doctor and Sai again. Both of them had come here following the recent lightning bolt, and now Joey will explain to everyone on the way to the laboratory. They then reach the laboratory, but the vines are surrounding this place. Joey and Heroman will go inside and Ravi also asks to follow to guide them both. When they get inside, they see the vines not moving as if setting a trap waiting for them. Joey then has Heroman break down the door and enter inside, but the vines have started to notice them. Joey then opens the elevator door with Heroman and jumps down. When they arrive, Ravi uses his card and fingerprint to unlock the door for both. Joey quickly discovers the core and has Heroman advance, but the vines appear and they start forming a copy of Heroman to fight. This copy's movements are exactly like Heroman's, but it can shoot vines to attack from a distance. Joey stands to block attacks and let Heroman rush in to fight at close range. Heroman then defeats the copy and advances to the core, but the vines create 3 Heroman copies to hold Joey, and the other 2 grab Heroman. Heroman throws both aside, but they turn into vines to tie Heroman up. Joey runs over to shrink Heroman, then throws him away and enlarges him back while activating the Thunder Punch as he grows. Heroman breaks the core and causes the vines to stop functioning. Everything has returned to normal and the next morning, the group sits waiting for rescue to pick them up and Ravi sees that the government owes Joey once again. As there's still time left, the teacher invites the group to go swimming again and try to have fun before going home. A few days later, Joey and Sai are dragged by the doctor to a deserted road to do gardening, because the doctor is investigating a few things, so he needs both of them to take soil samples. According to the doctor, there have been many kidnapping cases around here recently, mostly kidnapping poultry and livestock. Currently, no clues or motives of the perpetrator have been found, but recently that person has started targeting humans and there have been up to 5 people missing. Sai thinks that if the doctor finds any clues here, they might have been blown away by the wind. Hearing this, the doctor thinks of something and runs off, leaving both of them behind. 3 days later, Joey catches Holly listening to a phone call from Lena and starts telling Lena embarrassing stories about him. He takes back the phone to talk to Lena. He wonders why she didn't go to school today, and she informs him that her father made her stay home due to the recent disappearances. She asks about the doctor, but Joey hasn't seen him for 3 days. For now, Lena should stay home for safety and let Joey handle this. Lena really wants to see Joey again, and he feels the same way. The next day, Joey notices his sister following him to work again. Sai thinks Holly is also worried about the doctor, but she just thinks this case is dangerous, so they can't let both of them go easily. Holly then doesn't forget to reveal some of Joey's dark secrets. She then suggests that they've overlooked a clue about the recent kidnapper. Someone who can catch a whole cow must be very strong. Holly then leads the 2 younger ones to the beach, believing the doctor went in this direction, so they need to investigate from here. Joey then says they're dressed like weirdos and won't be able to investigate anything. But Holly then takes out swimwear and runs off, making an excuse about gathering information. Sai also sees the girls on the beach and runs off lustfully. Feeling helpless, Holly returns and says she's found a clue. They then go to a restaurant and meet the owner, who is said to be the strongest in the city. Holly then asks this person about the doctor, and this person knows the doctor. Holly is about to accuse this uncle of kidnapping the doctor when Sai stops her. Joey only asks if he can lift a cow, but the man throws Joey out. Seeing her brother bullied, Holly runs over and kicks the man. Seeing that he doesn't seem like the kidnapper, they leave. They then sit at a coffee shop and Holly finds news about a girl in the hospital whose father was a kidnapping victim. They then disguise themselves to enter the hospital and go to the girl's place. When they arrive, the girl understands they've come to ask about her father, but she doesn't remember anything. Holly uses empathy to talk with the girl and learns that her father was attacked and taken away by a red-eyed demon with claws. Holly believes the girl's father will return safely, and Sai and Joey understand that Holly is completely serious about this case. Meanwhile, Lena wants to sneak out to find Joey, but her father discovers this and wishes her to stay home until everything is safe. Since Will has left, they can't bear if anything happens to Lena as well. She then obeys her father while Joey's group has now arrived at the place where the doctor disappeared 3 days ago. When they get here, Joey still thinks Holly is doing nonsense, so he plans to leave with Sai. But Holly asks both if they know the reason why the doctor was investigating the soil here. They then find a type of plant. This plant should be able to live in a desert like this, yet this bush is dead and dry. Suddenly a man in black appears and knocks Holly away. Joey thinks it's Will, so he calls out Heroman to fight, but when he tries to call Will, there's no response. This person then pushes Heroman back and runs away. Joey chases after him while Holly wakes up and thinks Sai left Joey alone to chase the culprit, so she runs to find Joey. Although she likes to bully her brother, when he's in trouble Holly always wants to come to his aid. Suddenly she is caught by a large figure. That night, Hugh and the police have started to participate in the investigation. Sai tries to joke to make Joey less worried about Holly, but he's not in the mood for fun right now. Hugh asks if the culprit is the red-eyed person who attacked the previous facilities, but Joey thinks it's not the same. Hugh doesn't want to pressure Joey, so he just tells him that if he needs Joey's help, he'll contact him. Sai and Joey then return to the doctor's room to look for clues, but find nothing. Joey wonders if the culprit is really Will or not. Sai advises Joey not to be hasty now because their priority is to find Holly, not to determine who the real culprit is. Suddenly Joey discovers soil samples that the doctor hid under the chair, with a strange note on top. Joey sends it to Hugh, and Hugh discovers that the Formula X that the doctor circled is what causes plants to die in the desert. They then trace the locations of these soil types and narrow down the area. The most polluted location of this soil type originates from the coal mine where Joey's father used to work. Hugh then summons Joey and Sai and informs them that they have found the doctor's car down here. Hugh really needs Joey's help because he understands this coal mine better than anyone. When they arrive, Sai and Joey have a heart-to-heart talk for a while. Joey really wants to save his sister, but is afraid of hurting Will and Lena. However, Sai thinks that Joey understands Will very well, so Will wouldn't be the one causing this trouble. Years ago, Sai and Will were on the school's rugby team. They often argued, but in one match, Will decided to put aside his ego and pass the ball to Sai for him to score. However, Will threw too high, forcing Sai to jump up to catch the ball and get tackled by the opponent. The tackle was so strong that Sai broke his leg and was hospitalized. Will felt very guilty, thinking he was the reason Sai could no longer play football. Although the injury was caused by Sai himself, he also partly blamed Will. But when he learned that Will felt so guilty that he gave up the captain position, Sai changed his view of Will. Will doesn't like hurting others, so Sai believes Will isn't the one who kidnapped Holly. The two then enter the coal mine with Heroman. After a short distance, they discover the doctor's glasses here. Joey then quickly moves inside and discovers a large device containing people inside. He calls for the doctor and Holly, but both are hiding nearby. The doctor had escaped earlier and coincidentally saved Holly. The group then encounters the kidnapper and Joey asks the doctor to take Holly away from here. The kidnapper then rushes to attack but is hit by Joey activating the Thunder Punch and having Heroman punch him away. The person then reveals himself and indeed is not Will. He fires 2 cannon shots. Joey has Heroman punch away both shots and runs to block with a shield for Heroman. But the other guy calls out another dog. Sai tells Joey to lure them outside. Sai then runs away and is chased by the dog, while Joey stays with the other guy. Sai runs to the exit when the ceiling starts to collapse. He trips, but the dog is also crushed underneath. Sai tries to get out of the mine gate when the dog escapes and fires a shot. Sai manages to get outside, but the dog also rushes out and is shot down by Hugh and the soldiers. But it still tries to fire another shot when Heroman appears and deals with it. Holly is worried about Joey at this time, but he returns and lets Hugh and the soldiers rescue everyone inside. Holly can't believe her brother has befriended Heroman. Sai then suddenly collapses, while the real Will has returned home for a visit. We then learn about Joey's father's story. Years ago, he was a worker at this mine. One day, the mine collapsed, burying workers underground. Joey's father encouraged everyone to stay optimistic and find a way out, but the only feasible exit was also blocked. They gathered all the explosives to open this path to escape, but when detonated, it malfunctioned. Joey's father ran out to check and discovered a leaking wire, so he tried to reconnect it, causing the whole pile of explosives to detonate. Thanks to that, everyone was able to escape outside. Holly comes to ask Joey why he's so gloomy early in the morning, and he thinks he can't become a hero like his father in the past. But Holly doesn't see his father's actions as heroic and asks Joey what he considers to be a hero. Joey can't answer yet, so he goes to school early. Originally, the story he heard about his father was from his mother. So for a whole day Joey went to see Sai in the hospital and asked him what a hero is like. But Sai only thinks that Joey is a model for a hero, as he always wants to save everyone. Joey then went to work, and some people there knew about his father from the past. They believed his father was truly a hero for saving everyone in the coal mine. Joey now believed his mother's story was true. He then left and met Lena again. He boasted to Lena about his father and then ran to find Holly to confront her about his father truly being a hero, not a reckless person as Holly had said. But Holly stood firm in her opinion because Joey had very few memories of his father, so he couldn't truly understand who he was, as Holly was the one who understood their father best. Meanwhile, Lena remembered meeting Will again last night. Will had come here to see his sister and also to say goodbye because they wouldn't see each other anymore. Will also wanted Lena to stay away from Joey and then left before she could ask anything more. Lena then met her father and mentioned Will, but he wanted his daughter to stop mentioning Will because they had accepted the fact that Will was dead. However, Lena believed Will wasn't dead and ran away. Joey had gone to his parents' grave, and shortly after, Holly arrived. She asked about Joey's hero model, but he wanted to hear about their father first, the reason why Holly didn't see their father as a hero. She thought their father had broken his promise to her that day, saying he would return, but that was the last time she saw him. She soon understood that their father would never return, so she saw him as a fool who liked to play hero. She also thought Joey had never seen their mother cry, which was why he believed her words so much. Their mother had tried to raise the whole family until she was exhausted and passed away. Holly then mentioned that their father only left them that old hat. Joey remembered a guest once mentioning that his father should tap on his head, so he ran back to find his father's hat. He then found a family photo inside the hat with the words, "Family is the reason I try hard every day." Holly then ran outside to cry. Suddenly, Lena's father came and asked Joey if his daughter was there. Joey then called Lena, and her father grabbed the phone to listen, so she hung up. Joey then found Lena on the beach. He was talking with Lena for a while when she was about to tell Joey about meeting Will, but the doctor called to ask Lena if Joey was with her. She handed the phone to Joey, and he suddenly heard some shocking news. Cy and Joey then went to meet the doctor. Hugh was also there, and he revealed that everything was now connected, from Will's mission to clean up alien remnants, to the incident on the island, and now the coal mine incident. After the flying saucer explosion, things weren't completely over. It seemed that the remnants of the aliens were still active and secretly launching a second Great War. At that moment, a group of aliens had begun attacking a research facility. They could control those vines and use them as weapons to start attacking. The president then received evacuation news but didn't understand what was happening. The aliens then found the remaining piece of the commander from before and took it away. The president discovered that the vines had crawled up and surrounded the White House. Will then arrived but realized he was too late. Hugh, hearing the news from the White House, decided to call a helicopter to take him away. Joey decided to go with Hugh, while the doctor wanted Cy to stay behind and not follow because he would only hinder Joey. But both of them would still do something rather than sit idly by and let Joey fight alone. Joey then asked for some time to do something private. Hugh gave him an hour to do it. Joey then ran to Lena's house to see her. He wanted to say a few words before leaving, but she asked why he hadn't told her about meeting Will before. He stuttered, so Lena was very angry and sent him away. But he came back to say something to her, but Hugh had driven the helicopter there, making her unable to hear clearly. Then Joey left. He would have to learn this entire strategy book to know more about tactics to fight. He was then taken to the airport, and Hugh revealed that the doctor had asked them to make this for Joey. The plane then took off and Joey began to sit and study strategy, while Lena had now escaped from home once again. The next morning, Joey arrived at the White House with Hugh, but this place had been covered with vines and they began to shoot at the plane. Joey told Hugh to let him down quickly before the plane was hit. Joey then jumped down with Heroman, who now had armor and could fly, so they landed safely. However, both of them soon encountered aliens, so they had to deal with them to advance deeper. However, before they could get too deep, both were surrounded by aliens. Meanwhile, Will had discovered that the aliens were really trying to revive their commander, and suddenly Will was attacked by someone. Joey and Heroman then had to rush straight up to clear the way, as they both needed to enter the White House and rescue the president as soon as possible so that the president could deploy the entire army. Lena and Holly had now also arrived at Cy and the doctor's location, and they decided to help Joey together. We now know that Heroman's new armor can help Heroman amplify the voltage. Heroman then emitted a high-frequency sound that caused these aliens to suddenly explode. Joey then noticed that the female reporter had once again come here, while the doctor had now sent out upgraded jets into battle. According to the doctor, Heroman will have a moment when he needs to recharge, so these jets are to buy time. The doctor also had another plan with Minami's robot. As for Joey, he later discovered that the female reporter had become entangled in the vines, so he called Hugh to ask him to help resolve it. The female reporter was then suddenly called by Hugh and asked to withdraw, so she had no choice but to obey. It seemed that way, but she brazenly challenged Hugh again, leaving him at a loss. He thought she was making it difficult for Heroman to fight, but she wanted Heroman to keep fighting and ignore her. Hugh then told Joey to continue fighting and ignore the press, which made him not understand what he meant. Hugh wanted him to go to the White House as quickly as possible instead of trying to argue with the press. He then ran off with Heroman when suddenly the female reporter got a picture of him, making the whole world aware that Joey was Heroman's teammate. Holly, seeing Joey, was very angry and thought that everyone knew about Joey's situation, but had hidden it from her. Meanwhile, the aliens' plan had begun to move to the next step. They then summoned a giant machine, and the sphere that had stopped working earlier suddenly flew into the sky and returned to that machine. Hugh informed that the other 4 spheres were also operating and returning to that machine. He needed to quickly save the president before it was too late. Joey then encountered a giant enemy with Heroman. It spat acid to attack, so Joey had Heroman circle around behind, but it fired cannons from behind, making Joey worried. However, the armor the doctor had made was still very useful. He then had Heroman use magnetic force to knock down the enemy and rush in for a punch to defeat it. Joey then continued on with Heroman and encountered aliens standing on the White House. They thought he had arrived late and then activated the machine and successfully revived the commander. The commander then came back to life, and he was surprised to encounter both of them here. But Joey thought his fate would still be the same as before. He would show both of them that he was no longer the same as before. Meanwhile, the jets had now dropped many bombs. According to the doctor, these would be electromagnetic bombs. They would create clouds and strike lightning to power Heroman. But for the plan to go smoothly, they needed to bring this machine directly to Heroman's location. Joey was now being pushed back by the commander, while those spheres suddenly flew to the alien machine and then melted. The material from that sphere had formed a new complete body for the commander. The doctor didn't know how to get to Joey as quickly as possible when a vine had crawled up and pulled both the robot and the whole group underground. The commander suddenly started eating his own kind to Joey's astonishment. He extended many tentacles to catch everything possible to put in his mouth. As Joey was trying to avoid them, he suddenly discovered Will had been captured nearby. He called Heroman to help rescue Will, but the commander attacked towards Joey. He remained safe while Heroman used his body to protect Will. Meanwhile, the doctor's group was stuck quite deep inside. Hugh at this time had also found a car to get into the city because the air was now controlled by that commander. Will later regained consciousness and was still uncomfortable with Joey. He didn't want to cooperate with Joey, but Joey thought that both were now fighting for the same purpose. The doctor had used this robot's hook to pull the entire robot up, but when it was nearly there, the hook slipped off, forcing the doctor to make it run at full speed and climb back up to the ground by itself. Although he really hated Minami, he had to admit that his robot was amazing. Meanwhile, Joey's group had identified the jewel on the commander's body as his weakness. All three then rushed up together. Will then rushed forward to cut off some of the commander's tentacles. Joey tried to use super speed to approach, but was thrown towards a vine. But Heroman used magnetic force to pull Joey's glove to safety. The commander then created dozens of copies of Heroman, but Joey had Heroman charge up and use lightning in an area to eliminate all the copies. The commander launched multiple tentacles at Heroman, but on one side Joey blocked with a shield while Will blocked on the other side. He then removed all of Heroman's armor to help Heroman quickly rush to the commander. When he caught Heroman with his hands, Joey had Heroman surround his body with lightning to escape and then launch a thunder punch at the commander's weak point. But unfortunately that wasn't his weakness. Joey then witnessed Heroman being thrown away and pierced, causing him to stop functioning. He then threw Heroman away and claimed that the biggest obstacle had been eliminated. He then proceeded to absorb the remaining spheres. He then mocked Joey's hateful gaze because he himself had experienced the same feeling as Joey at this moment. He then shot a tentacle towards Joey and started to activate the machine and drill into the earth. Hugh tried to call Joey but got no response. Hugh said that the mission to save the president was now put aside because the commander was trying to drill to absorb energy from the earth. In just a few more hours, the earth would continuously experience disasters. In the worst case, the United Nations would have to flatten both Washington and the alien commander's machine. Hugh wanted the doctor's group to leave Washington, but everyone thought Joey hadn't lost yet, so they would believe in Joey until the end. Hugh decided to trust them too. He was then trusted by his teammates. Joey now woke up and met Will again. He had saved his life and revealed that the commander came here to devour the entire Earth. Will then said a few words that suddenly awakened some kind of power in Joey. He then called Hugh and asked him to leave early. He would handle the commander and his device himself. He now had the power to handle him alone, but the price to pay would not be small. But he would still try to save everyone like his father did years ago. Hugh then reported to the doctor's side that Joey was planning to sacrifice himself, so he asked everyone to stop Joey. Holly took a nearby car to drive ahead and Lena also followed him. Joey then had the power to throw off the commander's vines. He charged straight up and used his hand to destroy all the vines blocking his way. But just as he was about to launch a sacrificial attack on the commander, Heroman came to stop him and was thrown away by the commander. The commander then started transforming the machine back into his flying saucer form. Meanwhile, Lena and Holly had arrived and started talking sense into Joey. Lena reminded Joey about the first time they met, when Joey saved her from a fierce dog. But he thought Holly was the one who saved both of them that time. But if Joey hadn't stood up to protect her, Holly wouldn't have arrived in time. Sai and the doctor had also arrived. They believed Joey didn't need to fight alone, because heroes also need teammates to rescue everyone, just as he needed Heroman. The doctor then started his own plan and recharged Heroman. Hugh at this time had stopped the United Nations from launching missiles because their hero had returned. Joey and Heroman then rushed to cut off the commander's drill. He was furious because both of them interfered again. Joey then erected a shield to block all the missiles he fired down and let Heroman launch a maximum blast towards the commander. That shot penetrated the flying saucer and completely destroyed him. The world then once again returned to peace. Joey gave his father's hat back to his sister. But in the prison at this time, Dr. Minami and his accomplices had started their prison break plan, and it seems the show will still continue in the future. Goodbye.